The S's, inner loop chicane, and the boot are a few of many challenges that will be faced tonight. The Rangiart V8 Brutes make their way from the countryside mountains of Styria to the Finger Lakes region of New York to tackle the infamous Watkins Glen International Circuit. Once home of the Formula One World Championship, this circuit now hosts prestigious categories such as IMSA and NASCAR, but tonight 413 horsepower of Aussie muscle take to the stage to show how to slide your way through the undulation of 11 demanding corners. A lap around the Glen starts with the downhill run towards the 90, where this corner sets you up for the run back up the hill through the S's and down the back straight before hitting the testing inner loop chicane. With sector 1 in the mirror, the outer loop sends the drivers into the chute to start the boot section of the circuit. Uphill braking zones and cambered corners reward the brave through here before closing out the final sector of the circuit. That's one lap of this place. Let's do it for 1 hour straight. It's enduro time. It's the Rangiart V8 Brutes, all live on Sensational TV.
Oh, what a beautiful introduction from Pete there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready to join us tonight. It is Pete, myself, in the box. And Pete, this is going to be a massive night tonight. Really looking forward to this one.
It is a massive night indeed coming up as well. Thank you very much for having me in the box. We have got a enduro coming up this time around. The last time we saw one of these races, it was around Donington, and that was very, very interesting indeed, with the different strategies playing out for the tyre game that is around these circuits. And we're back again with more enduro times, and this time there's a bit more of a twist to this one, isn't there, Dino?
Mate, there's definitely a bit more of a twist when you start bringing strategy into it. I mean, this is where things get rather interesting. The top guys here tend to shine just that little bit more. They just start to come through. Just looking now, we've got a minute and a half till we start quali. But while I've got a chance, Pete, how about we run through the driver standings? I know you've been itching to tell everyone where that's sitting at the moment.
Oh, it is getting very close out in front, because Andrew Ferguson, well, he had a fantastic round last time out at the Red Bull Ring with a first and a second position respectively. So fantastic driving from himself to get himself now 572 championship points for a 32-point lead ahead of Andre Elliott. And then it's Ezra Simmons in third position there with 514 points to his name. Dion Clerk, Tommy Corks rounds out your top five. But look at this gaggle of cars that we've got here. So from Dion Clerk to Fabian Fitness, there's only a 16-point buffer. So, you know, Dion, Tommy, Jason, Fabian, all so close together in the championship standings. And then rounding out your top 10, you've got Remo Grant, Cole Elliott, and Gray Ward all inside the top 10.
I mean, how tight can you get? I mean, it's a great field that we have going on here. As I say every week, and I tell you what, I mean it every week, have a look at the field. Up and down that field, we've got quality drivers. Fergo's really impressing me this season, though, Pete. He seems to just be, he wants it. He seems to be pushing hard at the right times, putting numbers on the board. And I tell you what, you can see that reflected in the points at the moment.
Yeah, the number highlighted in red is their worst round to date. So Andrew Ferguson, his worst round, still claimed himself 132 points for that round. And if you just look at the next three drivers behind him, 112, 118, 78, and then even further down, 0, 176, 92. He is making the most of every single round as we now go green in qualifying.
So now we kick off qualifying. This is a very important 10 minutes. When you've got an enduro round coming up, this is important. You want to get a great start here. You don't want to be in the mid-pack. You don't want to be at the back of the pack. You want to try and get to the front where you know these guys will drive nice and clean and think about the out-and-run race. It's going to be a challenging little time for these guys at the moment. So I've just put that driver standings down. Sorry about that, folks. Probably had it up a little bit too long, but I'm quite keen to see where Fergo goes in this one. We've got him on the championship at the moment. I mean, these are good points in the enduro round. We've got 60 minutes here. He can really pace himself. You'd at least want to get up the front. You'd at least want to podium finish here.
Yeah, and speaking of the points when it comes to the enduro round, triple points is on offer this race weekend, so it's even more worth the practice and the time to put into it ahead of this round. You know, all it takes is one really good enduro round and you shoot yourself well up the standings, and so that would get the likes of Andrew Ferguson, you know, Andre Elliott, Ezra as well, who are right at the top, and they don't have too much of a buffer between themselves. All it takes is them to have a shocker of a race weekend, and someone a little bit further behind, maybe in Fabian Fitness, down in 7th position in the standings, has a good one, and he can skyrocket himself well and truly up inside the top 5.
Definitely, Fabian's still the dark horse here. He can seem to pull out a good round whenever he wants to. Just sort of waiting for him to get out there now, and let's see what he can do. Rob's also impressed me a fair bit at the moment. He's sort of gone from a back marker and he's just starting to creep up in the positions there. So that's great to see from these guys. Crowther, another dark horse through the field. I mean, there's so many dark horses. Where do we start? But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, Andre Elliott, we didn't get that drive lap from him. We didn't get a guided lap through the course, which will be happening every week. So we'll just have to do one now. Pete, you want to talk us through a lap and I'll jump on him with the doc.
Hell yes, let's go for a lap here. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him, so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays up. But first up, to tackle this circuit, you've got the 90. So as you may get from that, it's not a degree corner, and unlike in other racing categories around this place, you can't extend the exit of this first corner here. Santa Corsa is not going to let you do that. So well and truly inside the track limits, and now it's up through the S's. It's a fantastic couple of corners, but go side by side through here. It's very easy to tip someone out sideways, and you can cause an absolute monumental incident going through there. And it's going to be absolutely crucial to get a good run as well, because then you've got this section here. This is all about bravery and using those curves. So you can see the car in front getting it all sideways all over the curves, and you can see the power slide is running it through. So that was the inner loop chicane. They just navigate with the steering wheel facing the opposite direction. Then it was the outer loop, and now it was the short chute into turn 6. This is where the boot now starts. So this was added in 1971, just before the beginning of the Formula One season, to extend the track and make it a little bit more modern. And this is what I was talking about with the undulation and the cambered corners. Look at all the camber on the toe section of the boot, which is turn 7. So it really lets you get on the throttle nice and early. And now it's a little bit of a run to the heel of the boot. And this is going to be turn 8. This one is much more trickier than you think. It definitely does start getting a bit more tighter than you think, and the exit comes up at you much quicker as well, and then it's a much shorter uphill run. Lay on the brakes, turn it in nice and late as well, because you don't want to narrow up in the corner too much, because you don't have too much space on the exit to play with. And now you're going into turns 10 now, and then it's going to be the final corner of turn 11, where you can still very much put on the move. So nearly every corner on this circuit is absolutely fantastic, because every corner is pretty much an overtaking opportunity. And you can see on the power slide, making multiple attempts at trying to catch it as well. Andre Elliott to the line. How is his first lap going to go? And it goes to P3, but immediately knocked down to P4, because Jason McFadden has just been able to pick everyone else by only 1/100th of a second. And that is how close it is. And at the moment, your top 3 is separated by just over 0.2 of a second as well. So the lap times are already extremely close.
Oh, these guys are quick. I mean, we saw 202s in practice there. We were watching that just before quali, and then bang, the guys start pushing out the 201s. So we got McFadden, Ferguson, and Elliott all into the 201s. And then, oh, that's Cole Elliott in third. That's a great effort from him with a 201.8. And then I tell you, it's not much of a gap there. Oh, just a bit sideways there. It's not much of a gap. And you go back to a 202.1, and then Corksy on a 202.3. They're all coming into the pits now, just trying to get their heads together, just trying to see if they can lay down a time. Remo, he's not far off with the 202.6 than Crowther, Sadler, Wallace, and Hare. So I tell you what, it's not a big field at the moment. It's not a big spread for these boys. I think times can get nice and close.
It is going to get very much closer as well now. So everyone's gone out and done a banker lap at the moment. Anyone who hasn't done a banker lap will be absolutely on one at the moment, or at least they're trying to figure out how they can push the absolute limits without finding themselves over those limits, because around here it is extremely easy to find the track limits, and you can see going sideways like that from Big Mike is not the way to go around here. You lose a lot of exit speed, and you need to keep the momentum up in these cars. You may have 413 horsepower, but the cars all also nearly weigh 2 tons, so there is a lot of weight for that horsepower to try and move around. So keeping momentum and speed is going to be key in these qualifying lap times, as Dion Clerk gets himself now up into 6th position. A fantastic lap for himself to get himself inside the top 10 here in qualifying. Still finds himself though just shy of a second away from a pole position. He needs to find about 0.8 of a second if he wants to try and challenge for that one, and there's definitely going to be plenty of time in that one. But as it stands, Jason McFadden on the provisional pole position, and I reckon soon we're going to start seeing a few more flying laps come in.
Oh, I think for sure we're going to see some guys now jumping on that 201 bandwagon. They'll have all just had a little play, maybe adjusted tyre pressures just a little bit. I mean, the word on the street is the boys are running a stock standard setup and they're just playing with tyre pressures for driving these cars. I was fortunate enough to have a drive with them all on the Friday night, and I tell you what, they are a handful around this track. You just get a couple of corners wrong, just get it off by a few millimetres, and you're in all sorts of trouble. If you're not sliding off the track, you're putting it into the gravel trap. So this is going to be an interesting hour. I really think these guys need to just relax, get in the groove, and lay down the lap time. I haven't got sector splits for you at the moment. I wish I had that, guys, but I'm sorry, just bear with us. We're going to have to play out the laps and just see where they end up. But there's definitely the cream rising to the top at the moment. So it's still McFadden, Ferguson, Elliott, and Crowther. Andre Elliott, senior, he's there, not too far away, so these times are still looking rather the same. Corksy's still in this. Dion, Ezra now has just jumped into the party with a mid 202, so he's just under a second off the pace. But I tell you what, a second, it's not that hard to pick up here if you can get it right and not do Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to find around here, and as I said, keeping momentum is going to be key. And if you have one corner where you maybe break a tad too early, or you take the wrong line, you can lose that momentum, and it definitely plays penalties into the following corners. But one thing I have taken note of so far is the car behaviour of these V8 brutes coming through here, the inner loop chicane. It very much reminds me of the way a cup car handles these curves. You know, they're bouncing on the exits, they're on the power slide, they're using every single little bit of curb available, and then they still don't have it gathered up, because you can see there he's on a little bit of a slide, he's got a little bit of opposite lock in play as well going through there, and on the exit all over the shot as well. That may have been track limits, because it looks like his four wheels only just went over that white line. So this lap may be done now for Ezra here to try and catapult himself further up the standings, and with only a minute left on the clock, this next lap that he does, so he'll be able to finish this one off if he hasn't already got the track limits cut. But it's looking a little bit messy at the moment with all the opposite lock on show for us here tonight. Once he crosses the line, that will be it. That will be his final lap, so he has to make sure the next lap absolutely counts.
Definitely make sure it counts. Here's my surprise package at the moment is Cookie. Oh, Andre, I've just noticed, have a look at that for a time. 201.616. So he has throwing himself up to the top, throwing himself straight in the pits. But I just want to nick back for a second. Oh, Cookie's just put it up in a 14th. I saw him sitting down the bottom there, and I thought, you know what, he's got better in him than that. I've just been waiting for Cookie's time to come through and see where he sits with the whole show, and he's now starting to throw it up there. So he's up in the 14th. I don't know if many people will be able to challenge that 201.616. That is a fast time. McFadden could be on one here. You never know with Jace, Matt. This guy is either on or off, and I tell you what, when he is on, he is absolutely on. This man, it's like he's like a steel trap when he is on. The eyes are set, it's laser focus, and he can get right up there. Virgo, the other wild card we're looking at here, he's still sitting in third. He is our championship leader, so this is it. That is the checkered flag, Pete. So wherever they fall after this lap, that's all she wrote.
It will be all she wrote. Is Ferguson, though, going to get held up by the car directly in front of him? It's going to be a little bit distracting from to try and navigate these final corners. And how is this one going to play out? There's a car stationary down the main straight, so must have gone for a bit of a spin going down. And how does this lap play out for himself? It wasn't a improvement for himself. He remains in third position. Your top three currently locked out unless someone of the likes of Cole Elliott is able to better that. He's currently still inside the boot section of the circuit, so he's currently navigating that is turn 8 before he heads into, oh sorry, that was actually him finishing a lap, so he hasn't been able to do anything with that one as well. So it looks like she's pretty much all she wrote at the moment. Your top four is Elliott, McFadden, Ferguson, and Crowther. So it's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out. We've got a 1 hour race coming up for triple points as well. Oh, here we go. Cole Elliott actually was on a lap. So how does this one play out? So he's got the final corner left to go. He's using all of the exit, nearly nearly out to the concrete on the exit as well. So definitely using every little bit of tarmac this circuit offers, and it pops him into P5 and misses out on a second row start by only 100 of a second. What about Tommy Quarks in the Tickford Racing Mobile? So he's got the final corner left to navigate as well. How does this one play it? Does he do any last second position changes? He does. He goes to the top at the death of qualifying with a 201.5. Where did that come from?
That man is on fire. How is that, ladies and gentlemen? Right at the death, and just goes, excuse me, I will take it. If that isn't a preview for what we are about to see in this Enduro, I don't know what will be. Corksy, hats off to you, my man. That is an absolute monster effort. Pete, I cannot wait. What do you reckon we get a break done and come straight back to it, mate?
Oh, do we have to do a break? I just want to go straight into it.
I'm afraid we do. Corksy's got us all hyped up. Grab a drink while you can, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you back here in 2 seconds.
Motto is that safe drivers are lifesavers. If your organisation shares this belief and are planning to improve driver education in your community, SDT Simulator Driver Training has the solution. Many of our simulator users are also gaining a revenue stream by taking their simulators to events and schools for driver education programs. The system can also be set up to run motorsport simulation. Many leading racing drivers are now using simulators to improve their skills. Such software can also be used to show drivers they are not as skilled as they think they are. SDT Simulator Driver Training is a division of Safe Drive Training, one of Asia Pacific's leading driver training providers. We offer affordable driving simulators that are assembled in our Brisbane head office. SDT simulators are now in use across Australia and are expanding into international markets due to their affordable price, unique features, and customization for driver training. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Contact Simulator Driver Training for more information.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for what proves to be This is going to be 60 minutes of mayhem and fighting. This is going to be an amazing field. Off first, we've got Corksy. Second, we've got Elliott. McFadden off third. Ferguson off fourth. Crowther fifth. Cole Elliott with a great lap there in sixth. Dion Clerk in seventh. Remo eighth. Ezra in ninth. Wallace in 10th.
User entered your channel.
Sadler in 11th. Ward in 12th. We've got Cookie there in 13th. Paul 14th. Salmon in 15th. Priest in 16th. Hare 17th. King in 18th. And Sullivan in 19th. Pete, this is going to have it all. I am sure of it.
I reckon this is going to be an absolute banger of a race. I thought Donington was a very good endurance race, and I think this has got all of the ingredients lined up so far to even better that one. The tyres are going to be a play here. The fuel strategy is going to be a play here as well. There is so many variables, so it's not going to be a straight run to the checkered flag for any of these drivers, which is going to be so fascinating to watch.
Oh, definitely. It's going to all come down to who wants it and who can make the right decision. The lights are up, Pete. We are going to have a start here. Are you excited? I am.
I'm very excited. We're getting ready for the start here. It is lights out in very few seconds, and we are now off for the Enduro race here now. And it is a very good start for Tommy Corks, but look in the background, Jason McFadden. He's also had a very good start. Is he going to dare try and thread the needle to make it 3 wide? Tommy Corks, though, he is not unchallenged, though. He's got around the outside. Is Andre Elliott. They're going to go side by side now, going up the S's here. They've got to be very careful on cold tyres, heavy cars, big amounts of fuel. How is this one going to play out between the lot of them? And they're still going to go side by side, and you can see them getting squirrely in the background as they make slight contact, and they are still going at it for a hammer and tongs. The front two have been side by side now for nearly the first half of the lap, but surely they can't go side by side through the inner loop chicane sideways. Holds on to the lead. Andre Elliott also sideways, dips into second position, and now has to try and make sure Andrew Ferguson, the championship leader, doesn't sneak on through. If he does that, that is going to be big news in the championship with triple points on offer. But Corks leads the way, and behind, it looks like they're still all fighting for a little bit of their own real estate here in New York, and it is Tommy Corks now leading the way, but Elliott has to look into the mirrors because here comes Andrew Ferguson.
And Andrew Ferguson, he will want it. He will want to stay in touch with the leaders for the extent of this race here. He'll just want to hold a position and just keep in touch. He'll just want to be with them the whole time and come into the pits strategy. Then we can play the pit strategy game, but all up and down the field, these guys are tight. Let's go back down the field here, and we've got Ezra. He's made a move on Cole. Cole's left the door wide open there, and he's shot straight up the inside. I'm just keeping with this wide angle cam at the moment. Let's get a good look at the field and see what's going on. These guys, no one's giving any quarter at the moment. They're going to want to fight for this. Oh, there's a big out there. That was Dion. Dion has just spat the thing absolutely sideways, and I tell you, Pete, that's not hard to do, is it?
It's not hard to do. That concrete wall comes at you very fast, and it looks like just in the foreshot that he got out wide. He hit the concrete and he had to gather it all up. He probably tried to keep his foot in it to lose as little time as possible. That may have been the downfall, though, because keeping your foot in it then caused himself to have a heap of oversteer on the exit. He gathered it up. We saw him gather it up to the point that he nearly had to use the concrete wall on the other side as well. So massive save there from Dion, but it just shows as well how hard all of these drivers are pushing. And look at Andrew Ferguson, and now he's lost a touch of Andre Elliott just a little bit, because Elliott has got some pace absolutely out of nowhere. Side by side for the race lead once more. Do they go side by side through the inner loop chicane? Once again, Elliott this time will slot back in behind, just like he did on the open lap here. And at this time, it is your top four that have slightly broken away. Ferguson looks to the inside at the outer loop, and he can't get it done there. The door is actually slammed shut by Andre Elliott, and it's gloves off immediately out front.
Definitely gloves off already, and this is playing into the hands of McFadden and Crowther at the moment. It's just allowing these guys to come in. Jason now starting to range up on the back of Ferguson. I tell you what, he won't want to muck around there. He'll want to get in this party and have a go himself. Corksy pushing really hard. It looks like he's getting those tyres an absolute workout. McFadden then, I just saw that closing speed on Fergo. He closed that gap right up so fast. That was a very, very hard closing speed, so the braking in Jason's machine at the moment proving a little superior. He seems to be able to close up on Fergo whenever he wants, but these boys, they are battling hard at this. I can't stop going away from this wide camera here so we can actually see what's happening with everyone. This field's starting to spread out a little bit now, but I tell you what, it's all spice up the front.
Yeah, they're spreading out just a little bit, but they're only spreading out by a corner or two. It's still very much one giant train at the moment between first and all the way down to your very last runner at the moment of King in 19th position. So it is still absolutely all to play for in any position, especially considering, ladies and gentlemen, 55 minutes left of the race. So there is plenty of action still yet to come. Fastest laps are absolutely dropping. We're already now down into the 2 minute 2, so we're not too far away from what we were seeing in the qualifying department of lap times here. Down the inside goes Hayden Wallace. How's this one going to play out? Because he can try going side by side up through the S's, and this time though, on the exit, he wasn't able to get the traction down that he needed, and loses the momentum against Remo Grant, and now that puts him under pressure from behind, from Sadler into the other Speed Nation car, and right behind him is Graham Ward as well, trying to get a run, and has got a run, and now pulls alongside as well. So how's this one going to play out between the lot of them? A little bit further down the order, and up in front, it seems like we may have had a change for the lead as well. We've got Tommy Corks falling down the order, and he has fallen down the order. He has now dropped down to third position, could possibly be fourth position, so something's happened there, going through the bus stop chicane, and now into the outer loop as they head into the boot section of the circuit. So Andre Elliott takes away the lead. Ferguson remains in the second position, but it is McFadden now up into third, because Corks has fallen down to that fourth position. Does he dare drop down to fifth? Because here comes Lee Crowther down from the inside. With Corksy, he's all out of it. He has got it on the slide. What has happened to that car that we saw take pole position?
Corksy seems to have had a bit of a mare there. I'd say they've gone into that side by side. There's been a little bit of argy-bargy, and this is the result. You lose places. So Andre just filing back in behind those few laps. I'm not sure if he tried to hold the line then, and that's what the result is. Corksy has dropped way down this field. So he's gone from leading the race down to fourth position. And I tell you what, in a race this long, it's hard to do. And now he's got Crowther breathing all over the back of him. Crowther now, he will be, let's have a look what Crowther's saying. He's just seeing all this happen and unfold in front of him, and that's just pulling him straight into it. But right behind him, let's jump in the car behind him, is Dion. And Dion's seeing the whole lot unfold as well. So these guys now are locked in battle, and this is going to be a six-way tie for the lead. All of them fighting it out, hammer and tongs, to see who can get the advantage.
Yeah, it was only a four-car train just a moment ago between Elliott, Ferguson, McFadden and Tommy Corks, with Corksy leading the way only a lap ago. Now we've got ourselves here a bit of a seven-car train, and soon could be eight, because Cole Elliott is wanting to make amends of his qualifying efforts and get himself back inside the top five, probably where his pace has really shown so far in the practice sessions and everything. But is Ferguson going to look down the inside as they head to the chicane? You can see them using all of the entry curbing as well, but they have to be careful because take too much of it and you can clip the inside upgo barrier there as well, and that can fly you off into the middle of the circuit and absolutely end your race. But the battle for the lead, absolutely on. The battle for third, absolutely on. And the battle for sixth, absolutely on. And as to up and down the field, there is just battles happening everywhere. Did these drivers get the memo that it's a 1 hour race? Oh, Crowther into the grass. That was a big moment for himself. He could lose a position here because of that, because he's lost all the momentum. Momentum is going to be key here around this circuit, and he just manages to defend. You see him just making slight contact with the overlap as he slams the door shut on Dion.
I tell you what, and there's been another change for the lead. I just was eyeballing that gap come down, and I tell you what, Fergo has just managed to get it done, and now Andre will try and push back around for this one. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Can Andre get this done? No, he's going to have to file back in. So Fergo our championship leader, off out in front. Dion's made moves. He's got around Crowther. It's all starting to unwind now, mate. We're starting to see the action happen. And Corksey's around McFadden. So we're now starting to see these guys put the moves on and start to weave their way through the field. But Fergo, he will be laughing all the way to the bank with that. He's managed to get himself out in front. That's exactly where he wants to be. That's where he wants to sit. But I'm just seeing lap times now, and Cole's starting to put in quick laps. So he's starting to range up on all of this brouhaha going on, and he's going to want a piece of it. But there's a hard battle going on there. Have a look at Crowther and Clerk. Two hard heads, if ever I've seen them. Are these guys, Pete? This is going to end in tragedy, mate. I can't even talk. Getting too excited here.
Yeah, it could end in tragedy if they do bump into each other. And look at the run as well from Cole Elliott. Where has he come from? He has got a real heap of speed at the moment, and you can see using this chopper cam here, just the complexity of this circuit here, and you can see that was McFadden there making a slight mistake in the foreground of the shot. Crowther, he has managed to get ahead of Clerk, and then it is Elliott does get the move done on Remo to get himself now up into 8th position. So he is doing well to get himself further up the field here from where he started, but he has got a lot of orange in front of him with all of these Speed Nation cars are hanging around him. Plenty of those cars in the field here tonight, and this move is still not done because Remo does not want to let this one go. So Cole Elliott wants to be focusing in front of him, but at the moment he has got that Commodore all over his mirrors at the moment and taking up all of the brain power that is required to navigate cars around here with the skill level required as well, because these cars are extremely low grip, and that's why we're seeing them constantly on the slide, and they're going to go side by side now down into the hill section. It's very late on the brakes for Remo, but that does that, opening him up to a switchback from Cole Elliott. Cole Elliott's going to give it a go. He's looking to the outside here. How's this one going to play out? We've seen incidents already so far at this next corner, and it is on the exit that's been tripping people up, but at the moment it looks like it is going to be Remo holds that position just for now, with Cole Elliott falling down tonight.
Definitely, that was tight for a minute there. I was expecting a little bit of action, but from what I could see with my not so keen eye was Remo just seemed to have better traction in the corners. Cole was probably a little sideways, and bang, as we're chatting away, Corksey at 2:01.8. So that's getting near quali pace now. We're only 2 tenths off, so I mean, he is now on it. He's got a sniff of that one. You can see those two guys in front, and he thinks he wants a piece of it. Elliott and Grant, this is still not done. These two guys still arguing over 8th position here. Remo not willing to let it go, but I mean, that's only one through for Cole. He's got another 2 Speed Nation cars to get through. So this man is in for a very hard night. Clerk now. Clerk coming up on Crowther. I think he's going to get this done. He's got to run. Is he going to hold his line here? Most guys pulling out. He's pulling out of it. He's backing out of that one. I tell you what, Pete, lucky it's not me, mate. I don't think I'd be backing out. I'd be keeping the car there and saying whatever will be.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the way racing goes when two tougher combatants go at it. Sometimes rather than you want to back out, and the gentleman's rule gets absolutely thrown out the window and lost into deep sea. But this time around, there was a bit of gentleman play here, and they backed out of it to make sure that they can continue on, because I'm going to keep saying this, it's a 1 hour enduro, and we are watching racing as if they're sprinting for a 10-minute race here, but there's still 48 minutes left to go, so they've kind of got to play it out smartly here. I reckon at the start that we saw, Cole Elliott run a little bit wide and just let a car or two through. I reckon that was pretty smart from himself, even if he was a bit upset losing that in a couple of positions, but I reckon it's better to keep your nose clean for the long run, because some people from all of these battles that we've been seeing so far may have a few wounds on their cars now heading onto the rest of the race, which could play big talks when it comes to the final times. And so it's going to be those who keep it clean and keep the pace consistent that will get rewarded at the end of this race if they're able to keep their nose clean. And for that long, 1 hour is plenty of time around here for everything to go either tits up or into victory lane for themselves. So it's Ferguson setting the pace, but immediately eclipsed by Andre Elliott as we now head on to yet another lap of this great track.
This track is giving us everything we could ask for. I mean, these guys are throwing everything at it. As you said, the pace at the moment is crazy. The absolute pace that these boys are displaying through the race is ridiculous. They are laying down damn near quali times. I mean, and to do this lap after lap after lap, you guys out there who sim race, you guys out there who race for real, I tell you what, that is not an easy task to do. These boys laying it down, putting on a show, and it's going to go down to the wire. Dre now starting to close that gap to Ferguson, so that's telling me Fergo might just be starting to have a look through in the mirror and starting to see Andre starting to catch up. And I tell you what, when you've got the doctor ranging up on you, that's not a nice sight. But while we've got a second, I reckon we run through the field. So first position at the moment, we've got Fergo. He's holding position there. He's got out in front, kept it there, but hot on his heels is Elliott. Andre, senior, he is coming for him. Corksy there in third, had a little bit of a mishap. He's got himself back up in the third, and I tell you what, he's ranging up on Elliott. McFadden in fourth. He's just sitting there watching everything unplay. Not a bad strategy at the moment. Just get comfortable, get the laps going on. Crowther is absolutely in a Sim Nation war at the moment because he's got Dion hot on his heels, and right behind Dion is Ezra. So he's got two of them coming. Elliott's dropped off that pack just a little bit now, but seems to have cleared Remo, who's coming in ninth. And here's Gray. Gray doing a great job getting himself up in the 10th. 11th is Hare. Then we got Sadler, Paul, Cookie sitting there in 14th. Salmon in 15th. Sullivan, he's coming through in 16th. King in 17th. Rob sitting there in 18th. He's got more in him, Rob. I'd like to see what plays out after the pit strategies. And Wallace down there. Something must have happened to Wallace to have him all the way down there. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, it has not been going the way that we expected it to go for Hayden Wallace at the moment. He didn't go too well in qualifying, and so far the race hasn't gone too much better for himself. So hopefully, though, with the triple points on offer, just any finish will play decent for his championship hopes. But here's your top four, ladies and gentlemen. You can see them working their way through up the S's at the moment. There's a little bit of an air gap between the lot of them, but don't be discouraged by seeing that they're not battling. These guys are pushing each other to the absolute limits. We've seen, like, just the last lap for Tommy Corks was a 2:01.9. That's 4/10 away from what would have been pole position. You could see him on the slide. He's taking a much tighter line, actually, compared to some others. And in the background, though, off into the grass, goes Dion Clerk as well. So he's going to lose the position there to Lee Crowther as well for good measure for that mistake. So the mistake has not gone unpunished. But look at the exit he's been able to get, though, going through there. Was that maybe a little bit of a readdress from Lee Crowther there as well, and you can see that Gray Ward also on the slide. So the fact that he immediately lost two positions makes me think that there was a little bit more to that story that I didn't quite catch in the foreground of the helicopter cam, and so he's readdressed that position to allow Clerk and Simmons to both go on through in their Speed Nation cars. They're claiming themselves P5 and P6 ahead of Lee Crowther in your 7th position. And this battle is going to be heating up. And I reckon these guys are pretty smack bang on the pace of each other. So hence why they haven't been able to really pull a gap away from each other. But look at that in the background. Cole Elliott, after being able to dispatch Remo Grand, is also closing up to the back of these guys. And if they keep battling like we just saw through the inner loop chicane, give it a couple of laps, and I reckon Cole Elliott's going to be right on the back of this battle.
He's definitely going to be up there.
Oh.
I tell you what, Pete, I just caught sight of the chopper cam as we crossed over to you talking, and I might take back my call of going 2x2 through that chicane, because that's what happened there. That's what caused all the calamity. There was one on the right, one on the left, and it looked like Dion lost, but then somehow gathered it up and got back through the next corner and got that position back from Crowther. So the old 2x2 Noah's Ark style. Might have to take back my comments on that one because I don't think it's going to work. But as I look at the timing tower now, I go up the front and look what's happening here. Andre back on Corksy. This seesaw is happening. So now Andre back on Corksy. There might have been a little mistake because McFadden's been able to get into this too. So now Andre, he'll shoot up the inside. Let's see what he's got for us. Can he hold this? This is 2x2 that I was talking about. He's going to hold the line. He's going to force the issue. This is where it gets a little messy. Andre's had to run it wide. He's gone real wide, as you can see, and he's lost the position of McFadden. So I don't know if we'll get team orders there whether McFadden will let him back through. So the old 2x2, Pete, I think I'll just shut up and stay a commentator.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it really depends how committed you are going through there and how well you can race side by side with the other driver. How well do you know the other driver's movements when they go through there? Have you been studying the way their car behaves? Because a few of the cars have looked really nice through that chicane, other than in the hands of Tommy Corks especially. I saw him get super sideways a few laps ago, and I thought he was about to throw it away, but those mad skills on the controller were able to catch it, and that was excellent driving. But yeah, Tommy Corks managed to get himself up into second. We missed that part because he was running in third, got himself ahead of Andre Elliott, who now falls down to fourth position. And now take a look at this battle, because it is Lee Crowther trying to get himself back through these Speed Nation cars. You can see Dion Clark has been able to drive away from this, and as I said, Cole Elliott, he's been able to get himself now back on through into this battle here. So he is looking to try and make amends of qualifying, and with the exit there from Ezra, that will incite Cole Elliott to try and go for a move as well. And he's right on the back, and you can see Ezra running wide, switching it back to the inside with a little bit of grass for Elliott there on the entry into the corner, because look at that, he's lost a little bit of speed, tapped the wall as well on the exit of good measure. Now he's lost a little bit of touch here in this battle, so all it takes is one tiny little mistake there, and for the case of Cole, he just got a tiny little bit of his tread on the grass there, and that upset the car going through the corner, but not as upset as the car for Ezra Simons at the moment. Look at that, and now look at the run that Cole's going to have, but he can't do too much with it, because if he tries and swings out to the outside, he's just going to get on the dirty stuff, and he's in the fence, so he has to back out of it. He has to try and make the move now going down into the chicane. You can see the run that he's got. He was using all of the track on the exit. Is he going to be far enough? Is he going to be brave enough on the brakes to try and hang it around the outside? No, he falls in line, and he's now going to try and set it up going into the boot on how this one's going to play out. And it is really heating up between these two, and you can see them both slightly on the slide. They're gathering it up, catching the little kicks out from the rear end. The rear end doesn't have too much weight over the back of it. It's literally just the fuel tank and the weight of the tub itself, keeping those rear tires with that 400 horsepower to the tarmac.
I tell you what, Cole giving us a great lesson at the moment in one patience and just sitting there, just filling the mirrors. He's filling Ezra's mirrors. Ezra's sort of looking in that mirror going, is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? Cole throwing it right up the inside, then backing out of it and just letting him go through in single file. But I tell you what, that plays mind games. That plays with your mind. You're constantly starting to look now, wonder if he's going to weave left, weave right. That's an interesting race move. I love it. I love how he does that. So Cole's showing maturity way beyond his years right now. Junior, he is absolutely showing us how to do it. I tell you what, old dad should sit back and watch him and say, you know, he's got some moves to the young fella, showing us how to do it at the moment in the Elliott household. We've got a position change up here, but I tell you what, it's Jason into the pits. So just over 20 minutes race time, Jason has pulled it into the pits for his first pit stop. So the strategy's starting to unwind now. McFadden dropping down the field, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to everyone after these pit stops. But I'm not sure your thoughts on this, Pete. I wouldn't like to do this pit stop and end up in that back section of the field. That's a dangerous move.
Well, lucky for him, if we take a look at the track map on the bottom of your screen there, he is currently sitting in the pit lane. He's now on the way of exiting the pit lane, and he is going to have a massive amount of clean air for himself. But he wasn't the only one to go into the pit lane, because Sadler has also jumped on into the pit lane. But how's this one going to go? Because the pit lane speed here is not very quick around here, so he might actually be under threat here to lose a position to the field behind, but he manages to just get out in front of that gap. And now look at all the clean air. He has got the entire length of the S's and plus more of clean air that can now try and put in some quality laps without anyone else around him. But with the timing of that pit stop, I do think we saw it in Donington. Some drivers tried to go for the one stop, and in the end fell just short of the flag with the fuel mileage, and the tyres were definitely falling off a cliff. We saw Tommy Corks try and go for the race win, and try and go for that one stop in the end, just running out of fuel at the death of the race with only a few minutes left to go and having to pull in for a very late second pit stop. And in the end, it was the two-stopper, the traditional two-stop from Fabian Fitness that won him at that race. Do we think it is going to be Jason McFadden on the two-stop? Because we've still nearly 40 minutes left of the race. That is going to be a very long second stint. So do we think he's going to go for the 20-20-20 strat for the pit strategy in 3 20-minute blocks, separating it into 2 pit stops.
I tell you what, I'm not 100% sure on that call. Jason hasn't been ultra reliable on his fuel calls, mate. There's been a couple of times where he's been just a lap short on fuel. So I'm not sure what's going through Jason's head at the moment. I hope he's put in the time, and I hope he's got that one right as we start seeing a few pull in now. So we've got Cole come in and Remo come in. So this may be the strategy for tonight. We might just be a little behind the times. Fergo has definitely raced through. He's got Corksy 1.2 seconds behind him. So Fergo, he might be knowing something that we don't know at the moment. Stay out there, or are the boys doing the early stops? I mean, I do not know what is going on. I'm just looking at the chat now through YouTube, and I'm getting, hey Fabs, hey Hackstar, there's Sam in there. It's good to see all you guys in there. Gray's in the chat. Hang on a minute, Gray, where are you on the field? I see a DNF. Mate, we're going to have to get some insight to what happened there. I missed that one, Pete. How about you?
I saw his name tumbling down the field, but we were a bit too engrossed into the battling that we were seeing on the circuit. But I'm just taking a look now at the lap times from Andrew Ferguson here. You can see the last lap time he did was a 2-minute 2.8. So that is now over a second away from where we saw the pole position time. And so far this race, they've been smacked back on that pole position race time here, and you can see the power sliding now in the background from Tommy Cork. So do we think that it's maybe not so much the fuel strategy from the other drivers? It's wanting to try and keep the freshest rubber possible on the cars for the most amount of time, hence maybe going for a 2-stopper here. And is the pace now dropping off enough for an undercut to possibly become a prospect at the moment? Because Jason McFadden, the first of the pit stoppers, is currently sitting in 8th position. He's got 15 seconds to 7th position. So does he now find himself in amongst the possibility of getting himself an undercut here? It's going to be interesting to see where his next lap time falls in here, because his last lap was a 2-minute 9.4, but I reckon he was caught up in a bit of traffic on that one that time around. You can see the pace is absolutely on. Purple middle sector. Ferguson continues around once again. How is the lap that time around? It's a 2-minute 3.0, so we're getting slower now once again. And for Tommy Corks is also nearly an identical lap time as well. So this is a really interesting. How does the lap times fare against Jason McFadden? I would love it if we could stay with McFadden here and see what his lap time is, because this will be his first proper lap with these fresh tyres after his pit stop, Dino.
Definitely. Let's see what Jason's got here. He's got the slide on, but I tell you what, it's a controlled slide. The car isn't slip sliding all over the shop now. He seems to have a lot more control with those new tyres. I'm very interested in this lap time, because I tell you what, this is just gaining on the front of the field, and it's a 2:01.8. So there we go. He's pulled nearly 2 seconds. He's pulled nearly 2 seconds straight out of these boys. So this is on for Young and I tell you what, it's going to work wonders for McFadden here. So we really need to see what's going on. I think it's time for Fergo to call it in. I've just seen a super chat come through. Come on, Ez, get the bull bar working. Ez knows how to use it too, Gray. I'd be watching out for him if he was behind me. So now I think this undercut's working. I think McFadden is going to make He's going to go leaps and bounds up on these guys. Fergo, if he's paying any attention at all, I think he's going to have a look at that. Him and Corksy and both go, we need to pit now before we get left behind.
That is exactly right. But at the same time, if they keep extending this, they might be able to counter the undercut here. And sure, they'll come out behind Jason McFadden, but they're going to have 3, 4, 5, however long they're able to extend this stint, fresher tyres compared to McFadden. And we've seen how quickly the pace drops off, because these guys were doing those 2-minute 1s, low 2-minute 2s, and then all of a sudden it was 2-minute 3.8s. It was nearly into the 2-minute 4s at some points, and here they go, your top two now into the lane. So how do these guys come out of the field compared to Jason McFadden? Because McFadden at the moment is in the bootleg. He's about to head through turn 8, and here he goes through 8, and he's got only 3 more corners left to navigate here, and still yet another full pit stop for both Ferguson and Corks, and Clerk also into the pit lane as well. So how does Jason McFadden fare with this? How beneficial is an undercut around here? Because this first pit stop is kind of like the guinea pig pit stop here, because we're going to now see the answer to the question, is the undercut powerful? And this is going to be a very very telling, because now down the main straight he comes. He's going to be heading into the 90 very shortly. Ferguson and Corks are already now passed by Jason McFadden. They're still in the pit lane. They haven't even left their boxes yet. And here goes Jason McFadden. That is a huge undercut from McFadden. He has absolutely played this one to a treat. They're still in the pit lane.
I'm not sure if it's a one-stop versus a two-stop strategy going on here. McFadden might be going for the old two-stop, which has just sort of pushed him out in front. We got Paul, actually. He is out in front at the moment. I'm not sure whether Paul's done a pit stop at all, but with a 2:05 lap time, I'm sure the boys will be closing on in him. I would bet McFadden now running for the two-stop strategy, whereas you've got Fergo will be running the one stop. So Fergo now trying to come on the back of Andre. Andre pitted early too, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's going for the two stop. So Fergo will really have to apply the blowtorch now and try and get that car up as far as he can. And I tell you what, Pete, I just got a bit of inside word. Gray, he ran out of fuel, and then the VR started playing up. So that's a real shame, because he looked strong tonight. He looked aggressive. I was hoping for some, some typical Gray moves where he just goes for it. I love how that man mongrels a car.
Yeah, I faced a little bit of it last time out at the Red Bull Ring as well. He was a very hard customer to try and get by, especially in the second race. So very disappointing to see Gray not in this race anymore and already out of it before we even reach the halfway mark. So very unfortunate for Gray, and it's again just unfortunate to see, because now we're down to 18 runners in this one, and now that we've had a pit stop cycle, they've kind of spread out a little bit because we've got different pit stop strategies now. Making their way through is now Paul gets out the way of McFadden and lets him come on through. Well, actually, he's going very slow. Oh. Is he out of fuel? Has he conked out of fuel on his way into the pit lane? He's going to have to be very careful, because he's coming up to the apex here. This is very much just like last race weekend, where the pit lane entry is the apex to one of the final corners. So he is in a very dodgy spot at the moment while he's just trundling around with no fuel on. You can see as well on the throttle trace, no throttle whatsoever. So 100% out of fuel, and now he's just trying to make it to his pit box. And so McFadden now genuinely takes the race lead of your timing. So through that pit stop strategy, he's able to get himself nearly a 4-second lead compared to the rest. From memory, Dino, he was about fourth when he came into the lane, wasn't he?
He was definitely fourth, mate, definitely, and comfortably fourth. He wasn't challenging for any positions, but I mean, have a quick look at that. Andre, a 2:01.7. That is the fastest lap we've had in this race. So he is now thrashing it to try and get up on McFadden. But Fergo, if this is a two-stop strategy from Fergo and the other guys are running a one-stop, sorry, Fergo's running a one-stop and the other on two-stop, I tell you what, he's put himself in a great position here. I'm just not sure on McFadden and Elliott. These two boys, they will surprise the hell out of you. I've seen them do a lot of different things in the past. Some win, some don't, but I tell you what, when they win for them, it's usually a big win. So they go all right, they know what they're doing. So this is going to play out rather interesting. If Jace is on a one-stop and Andre on the one-stop, they're going to have to take it easy soon, because I tell you what, they were on those tyres pretty early.
They were on those tyres very early indeed, and I reckon they will be looking to try and get themselves that two-stop on the way, because just reflecting back to Donington, where we saw the last endurance race, the two-stop was the way to go. And I reckon with how early they've gone and the fluctuation that we saw in the lap times, I reckon it's going to be a very tall order for them to try and go 40 minutes with this set of tyres. As now you can see Tommy Corks maybe already struggling, tucked up back behind Hayden Wallace, flipping the wall on the exit of turn 9. So he is definitely pushing to try and get himself back by the DJR-inspired V8 group, which is absolutely beautiful to look at.
And he's done it now. He's just nicked that straight up the inside. That's as easy as you like, got it done. Wallace has just run it a little bit wide there, which has totally opened the door. Not sure if it was intentional. It certainly looked a bit intentional to me. I think he's seen Corksy come up and go, you know what, I'm just going to let you through. Corksy, a man on a mission at the moment. He's trying to push to get up as far as he possibly can. But all up and down these field, there's guys who are playing all different strategies. I'm not sure how any of it's got to play out. Let's have a quick look at Ez for Gray. And here's Ez. He's sitting comfortably in 10th at the moment. He's got Joshy Sadler behind him. He's got a good gap behind him. He's only 1.5 seconds off Dion. So the Speed Nation guys, they're putting on a great show here tonight. We've got them in 8th, 9th and 10th. So they're no slouches at all. And then we go to Hare in 12th. Cookie, he's in 13th. He was in 14th before, so he's got himself up a position, but they're really starting to spread out the field now. Salmon in 14th. Salmon's done a great job. He's just running his own race at the moment, trying to stay in there. There we go. Sullivan. Sullivan's the same thing. Got great gaps around him. Then Paul. He's obviously rolled in and got his fuel, Pete. I think that was touch and go. Not sure if he was going to make it in the end.
Yeah, he was starting to look like he was really losing the momentum as well to try and make it inside the pit lane for Paul. But I've just done a little bit of research on the fly, Dino. So last time out at Donington, the race win was 15.5 seconds, and that was all thanks to Fabian Fitness committing to the two-stopper straight away when all the other drivers around him tried to go for the one-stop and ended up having to come in for the second or late stop, which gave Fabian the track position right at the death of the race. So I reckon we're on for a few two-stoppers here, but do not be discouraged, ladies and gentlemen, that there may be some people here trying to go for the one-stop as well, which is going to be fascinating to see it play out. And Lee Crowther is one of the drivers who came in a little bit later than some of the others, so maybe he is going to be one to try and go for the one-stop. But still 26 minutes left of this stint. Is he going to be able to get it pulled off? As now Hayden Wallace comes in for his pit stop as well. So he now drops out of 6th position. Crowther now takes that one as well and does the personal best lap time as well of a 2-minute 2.4. So the pace is absolutely there, but it's already fallen off just a little bit from where we saw the race pace at the start. McFadden still leads the way by over 2 seconds ahead of Elliott and Ferguson. But look at Crowther, he's really catching to the back of Elliott at a great rate of knots.
Definitely starting to catch up now. These guys are all starting to try and play themselves back into it. They're all trying to keep in touch. So Fergo now, he'll be in 3rd. He'll be happy with that for the championship stake. But I tell you what, a few more runs up the board wouldn't hurt him. He'll be looking for a second or even the race win. He can see the guys in front. Actually, while we've got a chance here, let's have a look in Fergo's car and let's see what he's seeing. So he's catching glimpses there. You can see he's got Andre firmly in his sight, and then he's looking up and he's like, there's McFadden. So that is like waving a carrot in front of a rabbit, guys. He will be absolutely chasing. This will be like a greyhound after the rabbit. He will be seeing these guys and trying to go as quickly as he possibly can. I mean, look at that. His last lap was a 2:01.9. So he is absolutely on it. Let's see what Elliott's last lap was. That was a 2:01.7. So he is on it, and McFadden a 2:02.7. So McFadden might have had a little incident there, but he's trying to play this game as smart as he can. These three guys starting to run away a little bit now, because if we go back to Corksy's nearly 7 seconds off the pace at the moment. So there's a 7-second gap. So the top three trying to stay in touch. That is what they're going to do. They're going to try and hang in there as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely interesting to see how this one plays out strategy-wise. Tommy Corks as well got plenty of pace as well. He's got the purple middle sector going as well for himself. So let's see how this lap goes for himself, because the last time around was a 2-minute 2.1, so a little bit further off the pace compared to what we've seen from the top three. This time around, that's a bit better, a 2:01.9, so that's about where your top three is currently at in the pace area, and they still continue to lead the way with a 1.9, 1.7 second gap between the two of them, so they're nearly line of stone as well, going the way through Watkins, Glen. Lee Crowther, though, still trying to get himself ahead of Cole Elliott. Elliott there made a little bit of a mistake and ran wide at the first corner. That's the 90, which has now resulted in a little bit of a loss of momentum going up through the S's. And so does this give Lee Crowther the incentive to try and shove the nose up the inside at the chicane? We've seen it get pretty dicey, especially Lee Crowther's already had a bit of experience with that too as well, a few laps back trying to go side by side with one of the Speed Nation cars. Didn't end too well for himself, but he will not be discouraged from that one, I'm sure. At the moment, while he's battling Cole Elliott here, he has got Freebird absolutely roaring through that radio.
Definitely, mate. He's going to be on at 100%. Want to try and catch Elliott here. These guys have got their own little private battle on. I keep coming back to these two cars, and I mean, how great do these two cars cars look absolutely amazing, and Crowther now starting to put on the show. He's absolutely going to try and track down Junior here. Junior's going to try and hold him off. I mean, I tell you what, 5th or 6th position, coming 5th or 6th position in an enduro like this, that's no mean feat. That is not an easy thing to do. That is not an easy thing to try and hang on to, because these cars are loose as a goose, as we've said. They are not easy things to drive. We both have plenty of experience. You in the last round, I mean, you did a great job in the last round, Pete. Maybe now's the time to have a chat about that. How was your drive?
You know, it was very fun. It was good to kind of dust off the sim rig just a little bit. I don't really use it too much around, and yeah, it was good to know that despite never driving those cars around that circuit, it's not a track and car combo I would have thought would have worked too well, but it was an absolute blast to drive around. Yeah, it was good fun. I had good pace as well. I was a little bit nervous so that I would be putting in my most sweatiest lap of all time, and I would cross the line in 20th. So very good to see that I was able to put it towards the front and get at least a podium out the weekend. Was pretty cool.
Definitely, mate. That was a great result, especially in this field. Have a look at these guys. Crowther now starting to range up on Elliott. So Junior now under a lot of pressure. He's got a thirsty camel behind him, and I tell you what, that camel wants as much as it can possibly have. It's going to suck all the slipstream it can out of it. Are they going to go 2x2? Crowther thinking better of it. He was tangled up in that Dion nonsense before earlier in the race, so he will know 2x2 doesn't work. Oh, no, that's a big off. He's just tried to keep it wide there to not have an incident, and that's resulted in him slapping the wall. That will have hurt. That's taken a bit of time. That's Elliott now is sort of going, thank goodness for that. That's given me a little bit of relief. But I tell you, that's real unfortunate for Crowther. He just had it all going on at the moment. Then it got a little crossed up and it just pushed into that wall. Just pushed into it, which is not what you want. You really don't want that. These cars push wide so easily. You've got grip, and then all of a sudden, I haven't got grip.
Yeah, and it looks like it was a decent whack too, so hopefully the car's not going to be too wounded after that one as well, because there's still 20 minutes left to play. How quickly has this race absolutely flown by. I swear the last time I checked, we still had about 40 minutes left of the race, and we're now nearly, if people are on a two-stoppy here, aka one Jason McFadden, I reckon a pit stop will be on the cards very soon for himself. Looking at the pace, his last lap was 202.0. How's this one going to go? 202.2. So he is still holding a pretty good pace. About this time in the first stint, they're already getting into the threes. So the pace looks like to be maybe a bit better this time. Maybe the cars are a little bit lighter, didn't have to put so much fuel in it this time around, which is kind of helping that out. But you can see the gaps are still very much held their own at the front. It's actually now 2 seconds between McFadden and Elliott, but it's now down to only a second between Elliott and Ferguson. So it's definitely closing up. It's closing up on one end of the spectrum rather than the other. Definitely starting to close up. Fergo seems to look like he's making a move now. Bang! Fergo's done a 201.699. That was his last lap. So Fergo pushing now. This one's going to go down to the wire. I tell you, if it's a two-stopper for McFadden and Elliott, and Fergo can hold this sort of pace, I think he'll go a long way to winning this one. But it's just trying to figure out what the two Rangiart boys are doing. We're not sure what they're doing at the moment. But while we've got a second and a little bit of a lull, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this one. If you like what you see here with me and Pete, like, subscribe, and get notified. Where else do you want to be on a Tuesday night? The action is here, and Pete and I are giving it to you in spades, but these guys absolutely putting on a show for us all. Absolutely. It's been a fantastic race to date so far, and we've still got another 19 minutes or so of racing left to go. But as we've been talking, the gap out in front has extended, but the gap between second and third is down by nearly 0.4 of a second since we last checked. So the Ferguson's really put on the go hat now as well. He's been able to find that pedal on the right. It's absolutely down to the floor, and he is gunning after Andre Elliott here. So is Elliott maybe suffering from a little bit of tyre fade, a little bit quicker than maybe one Jason McFadden? Remember as well, McFadden coming in early was able to find a massive breath of fresh air. He had a decent section of tarmac ahead of him with no other cars around him, so he was probably able to put himself into a bit more of a relaxed state, bit of a zen a bit sooner than any of the other guys. So that may have played dividends as well for his tyre management, which we might be seeing now because he's extending that gap. You'd think it would go the other way despite Andre Elliott and Andrew Ferguson having a few laps extra tyre life against the other guys. It's now Cole Elliott comes in for another pit stop here. So a few drivers 100% now on the two-stop strategy. So Cole Elliott, the first of the two-stoppers now, to confirm that one for ourselves. And in he comes for that one, and it's Andrew Ferguson. Look at that, 0.3 of a second between the two now. Does this get to a point now where Andre Elliott stops looking in front of him and now puts the focus 100% into those mirrors?
He's gonna have to start looking in the mirrors. I tell you what, Pete, what's your thoughts? Let's do a lap with Fergo. Let's jump in the car and watch him hunt this man down.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking a look at the car behavior now. So how does this one play out? You can see him seesawing away at the steering wheel on the exit there of turn 6. And now coming out of the toe of the bootleg, you can see Elliott using a little bit more circuit there, but it's still pretty much a line of stern, no gains, no losses between the two of them. The gap now 0.6 of a second. You can still see your race leader, Joseph McFadden, you're right there in front of them as well. So do not discount them trying to go for a race win as well, because you can see that gap is 100%, maybe extending at the moment, but they can still got eyes on your race leader, which is a nice, what would the word be? A motivator. That's the one. There we go. Let's stick with that motivator for them to go through. And look at the power slide from Andre Elliott, a little bit cleaner from Ferguson. So the car behavior is a little bit different between the two of them. And in goes Andre Elliott, and so does Jason McFadden as well. So the two stops absolutely on, Dino.
This is on now for young and old. Fergo, as we predicted, he's gone for the one stop. So now all the pressure is on. He's got a slide there. I'd try to calm down just a little bit at the moment. Save those tyres as much as I can. We got McFadden and Elliott in the pits, so they are definitely going for the two stop. Watch those two guys come on strong for the end of the race. Fergo's lap time will be interesting now. His last lap was a 2:02.5, so he's gonna have to up that a little bit. He's gonna have to hover around the low 2:02s to hold this lead, if that's what it is, a one-stop strategy. Corksy there, he's miles behind. He's nearly 10 seconds. He's 9 seconds off the pace. So Fergo's got a great gap to him now. But as I said, the fast movers now, watch these two guys, McFadden and Elliott, on a fresh set of boots. They will be going hammer and tongs to try and get back up the front, but they've put a decent gap there. That's a long way back. From what I can count quickly, we're looking at nearly 30 seconds back from Fergo. So Fergo's got about 30 seconds in hand at the moment, but he can't let those lap times plummet, because that's how you start to lose this chess game quick smart.
This is going to be absolutely fascinating. So Ferguson is actually on the one stop here. You know, he's currently going into turn 8. Your provisional race leader, if everyone was to do the two stop of Jason McFadden, he is currently only going through turn 6 at the moment into the chute. So there's nearly a full sector that he'll have to gain to be able to get himself now into the race lead once again. But we saw the pace difference right at the start of those stints. It was nearly 2 seconds between those extending their stint and those coming in for the two stop. So if Ferguson goes around once more, I reckon that's going to confirm a one stop for himself. It doesn't look like he's going to be coming into the lane. He's very committed to that final corner. He does not go into the lane. So I'm going to put it down now. Ferguson, one stopper. This is going to be fascinating. As you said, Dino, roughly 30 seconds between Ferguson and Jason McFadden as well for this one. But he has to be careful as well, because for McFadden, he's got Grand, Clerk and Corks in front, and if none of those guys come into the lane either, he's got some overtaking to do before he even thinks of going for Ferguson for the race win.
Definitely, and some hard customers too, Pete. Like, those guys aren't just going to pull over and say, after you, sir. Those guys are going to fight for this. They're going to want to hold their positions, because as it stands at the moment, Dion's got a third, Remo in fourth. They will want to hang on to that. But I'm just seeing now Remo now jumping into the pit. So Remo's pulled in. He is definitely on a two-stop strategy as well. So that's only leaving Dion out there. And Dion's last lap was a 2:02.7. So he's starting to fade a little bit in the lap times. McFadden now, what's McFadden McFadden's lap time. He'll be an interesting one to watch for this lap and just see where that comes up. I'm going to keep a close eye on that, the gap between Fergo and McFadden. So Fergo on the 1 stop, and he's well out in front. McFadden on the 2 stop. He's the first one up there on the 2 stop. So I'm not sure if he can pull this gap in. We've got just on 13 minutes to go. I tell you what, that is a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time. It's kind of a weird period, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like putting a bigger bed in your bedroom. You get more bed, but you get less bed at the same time. So it's a bit strange the way it's going to work. And as you said, there's a lot of time for Jason McFadden to find, but not a lot of time left in the race. Only 12.5 minutes left of this one. So he needs to put up the pace a little bit more if he wants to even start thinking about getting to Ferguson. But now that a few more laps have passed and no one else is really coming into the lane, I do think that it's going to be Corks and Clerk also going to try and hold on to a podium here by sticking it out for the 1 stop. It'll be a good recovery for Corks here because we saw him drop from the lead to 4th position. So it wasn't a great start of the race for your pole sitter, but has found himself quite nicely sitting in 2nd position. But further down the field, here is Ryan Sullivan. So he's been a little bit quiet so far tonight. One of the Speed Nation cars. We've got a few of those in the field here tonight. And he's currently sitting down in 16th position, but he's just been lapped by Tommy Corks as well, just in front of him there in the Falcon. So it hasn't been the best start for himself here. And I just realized Tommy Corks is in the lane. Is in the lead. So that's Ferguson in the lane. So Ferguson unable to go for the 1 stop. But once again, it does this now. A bit of a seesaw. McFadden. Surely. And fastest lap of the race. That's faster than pole position. Andre Elliott clips it even faster again by 0.005 of a second. The wick has absolutely been turned up here. And look at that. McFadden only just ahead of Ferguson as well. So this has really flipped everything on its head. Now that puts the question in place. Does Corks or Clerk, can they make it to the end of the race? Because the battle is absolutely on for 3rd position now.
The battle will be on for young and old. That is telling me that Corksy may have to come in and pit and put on a fresh set of boots, and same with Clerk. Or are they just going to try and hang on? I don't know, Pete. I think I'd probably have the strategy of trying to hang on at the moment. See if I can just hold that lead. We've got, it's under 11 minutes to go now, so the clock, it is not slowing down. It's ticking like you would not believe. Fergo, holy dooly, let's have a look from Fergo's car. Do you reckon the pressure will be on here? Fergo will be sweating bullets. He will be absolutely going for it. Hackster's just jumped in with a come on McFadden. Let's see what Jace has got. What do you reckon, Hackster? He needs the cheerleader, mate. He's gonna need the cheerleaders, so get in there, support the man. He's gonna need everything he's got. This, I would say, will be for the lead of the race if Dion and Corksy do not pit. But let's ride with Corksy for a sec, Pete. What's your prediction? Is this man gonna pit?
I think he's going to stay out. I reckon he's going to try and do exactly what he did at Donington. And I'm immediately proved wrong. He is in the lane, ladies and gentlemen, from the lead of the race. So how is this going to play out? Because we saw Corksy have pretty good pace with Andrew Ferguson in 4th position at the moment. Clerk, though, I reckon he's going to try and stay it out. I reckon he's on here to try and go for yet another race when he got the 2nd race locked away in the Red Bull ring. So can he go 2 rounds in a row for race victories? This would be race win number 3 for him this season in the V8 Brutes if he's able to get this one done. But Corksy, though, you can see on the timing, he's already fallen to behind McFadden and Ferguson. He did have about 10 seconds or so behind the race leaders at the time of the pit stop. So I reckon staying out may give him a little bit of an edge, but I don't think with 9 minutes left it's going to be enough time for him to catch up everything.
No, definitely not. So all the strategies are playing out now. It looks like the two-stop was inevitable, but look at this. Have a go at this. Fergo now right up on the back of McFadden. McFadden spinning wide there for a little bit. His mirrors will be full of Fergo. He's come across to cut the nose off. Fergo saw better of it and backed out. But Jason sideways, well sideways. Let's go to the chopper cam for this one and get a good view of it. Jason spat sideways. That just incentivized Fergo to get straight up there and have a go. Fergo right on his hammer now. So now watch these lap times fall. Andre will be hoping. He will be hoping. He'll have everything crossed. I'm sure his toes will be crossed in there. He will be crossing everything that these boys end up battling out, so that can bring him into it. Dion's still got a commanding lead, but this battle, this has now ignited. We are on for one and the old. This is happening.
Absolutely. Do not discount Andre Elliott as well in 4th position, because if these two come to blows, he's only 3.5 seconds behind. That's plenty of time for him to either close up or even get the both of them if they come. Both end up in the fence or anywhere off the racing circuit. So these guys have to play it carefully, sure, but these guys are playing it out for a championship. Andrew Ferguson, championship leader, but it was Jason McFadden coming into this triple point race round in 6th position. A result like this, or even possibly a race win, will skyrocket his position in the championship. Dion Clark continues around for another one, so with 7 minutes left, he's just got to stay committed to this. He's got to stay committed to the one stop here, because if he doesn't come into the pits now, there is just no time at all for him to make up anything and use those tires, because with by coming into the lane now, he's going to have to do an outlap to cycle the heat back into the tyres, and then by then he's probably lost even more time to everyone else already with tyres up the temp. So the only thing that Dion can now do is stay out and trying to hold on to these last 7 seconds. The bonus is, though, he's got 10 seconds in hand, though, so he can back the pace off just a little bit if he needs to fuel save, if he needs to save the tyres. He's got the gap there to be able to help that, and that's also going to come into play as well if these guys keep battling it out, because that gap won't close as quickly as it should.
Definitely not, mate. The gap won't close at all if these guys are battling it out. I'm wondering if McFadden's reading the YouTube comments at the moment, because I just read old Fabs is going, time to use up the cuts, boys. And I tell you what, McFadden used the car park. I hope that was good enough for you, Fabs. He's absolutely using up the cuts now. He's throwing it. Fergo, that seesaw battle that's going on here, the time seems to open up and then he just seems to get it back down again. So Fergo's just trying to settle himself, just trying to get it in his head what he's got to do here. He will want the 2nd position. If Dion is going to race out there in front, they got 6 minutes. Not sure if they'll pull up nearly 10 seconds in 6 minutes, but I've seen stranger things happen. So these two guys now, they need to work together, not against each other. Fergo, I don't think that'll be in his head, though. All that will be in his head is, I am going round McFadden, excuse me. And McFadden will be, you want to go around this bus, mate? You're going to have to give it everything you've got to get around. And then Andre, I just saw these two guys were in the mid-2s. Andre there, bang, a 201.443, and his last lap was a 201.878. So Andre is just trying to close up on these two. He will be hoping, praying, everything for it. And Dion's in the pits.
So he has thrown away the race, or not thrown away, but he's had success of the race lead for this one. So he's not going to be able to pull off a Bradbury and get himself another race win here. He tried his very best, but it came not into fruition for himself, which now leaves this as the genuine battle for the race lead, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be absolutely on. We've got 5 minutes left of racing around this circuit, so that's going to be about 3 or 4 laps here left to play in this one, probably more on the length of 3 laps to go. So they've got a little bit of lap traffic coming up ahead. It looks like one of the Speed Nation cars, so hopefully they get the way nice and easy. But is this a run now for Andrew Ferguson? He's pulled out of the slipstream. He reckons he was close enough. Does he dare go late on the brakes? No, he tucks back in straight away, but does that upset McFadden's car? You can see it bouncing all over the curbs. There is nothing behind them, between them, and they now go around the outside of each other. They're trying to go at it. Andrew Ferguson, in amongst all that battling, still sets a purple first sector. We are absolutely on for a battle here, and the more they battle, the closer Andre Elliott gets into this battle as well. So it's 2 cars head to toe at the moment. If any of them come to blows, Andre Elliott's 100% there to take the cake, take the candy away from the both of them, and they're going to battle this out to the very end. The gap, 0.3 of a second, but look at that. There's the lap car just in front of them. How is the lap car going to play this one? It's another good run for Ferguson. He's getting the exits against Jason McFadden, and it makes sense. He pitted later. And then McFadden, does he go down the inside under the brakes? He gets the door shut on him, but there's just enough space to keep the nose inside. They make contact on the exit of turn 9. How is this one going to play out between the lot of them? And they're going to go around the corner, still side by side. Is he going to get fenced, or is he going to get squeezed out to the fence? Still, side by side, between the two of them. How is this one going to play out, Dino?
He's holding it. They've gone 2 by 2. They've gone side by side. That's going to give Fergo the run here. Jace is going to have to think better of it and get out of it. But if he can get the power down, he can't. So Fergo has now punched it up. He's put himself in first position. He is absolutely going for it. This is crazy. Mate, I don't know where to look. I don't know what to say at the moment. These guys punching on like you wouldn't believe. Look at that lap traffic getting out of the way. That is a beautiful job there. Let these two guys fight it out. So now Fergo has been unleashed, but McFadden had those lap times. So we know Jace has got it in him to get up there. Jason, he's looking for all the motivation he possibly can to get up there. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm going to try and help him out as much as I possibly can because Jace, he needs the help right now. And let's give him a little bit. There's his cheer squad. Come on, Jace. Let's see if you can get it done, son. He's got Fergo now firmly in his sights, but he's got a fast-moving Elliot behind him too. Andre hasn't given up on this. Oh, Andre! Oh! That is over! Andre slapped the wall. He's had an absolute massive accident there, pushing too hard. He's still going to hang on to that third position, but I tell you what, that went all bad for him. That was left, that was right, that was all over the shop. This guy now just trying to hang on to it. Tyres could be coming into it. Everyone's pushing as hard as they can. Andre would have thought he could get back up there, but he just wasn't getting close enough. And bang, Pete, that could have been tragic.
It could have been race ending for himself. He hit that wall at a great rate of knots, and luckily that the next part of the wall that he hit was the Armco barrier and not the concrete, because it could have ended so much worse for himself, but he was able to gather it up in a good time as well, and so he hasn't lost out to Tommy Corks, sitting in 4th position, only a few seconds behind. So it nearly was game over for Andre Elliott, but it's definitely game over for a race win now. And look at this, McFadden had a lap, just pulling back a little bit. The gap went out to about 0.7 of a second. But here we go, going on to what is probably going to be the last lap now, because we're in the 2:01s, the 4 lap times, only a minute left on the clock. So it's going to be this lap or never for these two drivers, and using all of the track is McFadden. But that's probably going to ruin his run now, going up through the S's.
Definitely going to ruin his run. So this is playing for keeps, ladies and gentlemen. After an hour of racing, we have 2/10 in it between first and second. The battle that these guys have put on, it's been clean, it's been fair. McFadden has a run here. Fergo, what's Fergo going to do? He's going to try and keep his nose in front here. Jason's got overlap, I think. Oh, Fergo's going to have to back out of it. I half lost my voice then. No. He's sideways. Fergo's now got to check up. He's got nowhere to go. He's just got to tuck it back in. Fergo won't be happy with that. He won't be happy with that. He just had to hit the brakes there and just let Jason through. He just had to clear it out. So this is on. Fergo's going to throw everything at it. They will know now this is the last lap. Can anything happen? Jace is holding it. The man has thrown everything down tonight. Both of these guys have. And this is how the end battle should be. Fergo is absolutely all over him. He just needs to not overcook corners. It looks like he's gone wide to get a good exit here. So this is going to give him a good exit. But I don't know if it's going to be good enough to throw it up the inside. He's going to get awfully close. This one is going down to the wire, Pete.
It's going down to the wire. He doesn't go for the move heading into turn 8, but look at that, he's got a really good exit speed heading out the corner. What is he going to be able to do with it? McFadden goes defensive. That means that the advantage goes back to Ferguson, because he's going to be able to try and get himself a good run here, but he gets the grass on the exit. But he's still got 2 more corners that he can try and shove a move up somewhere. He's got 2 corners left to go. Now it's 1. Using all the exit. Does he dare try and go down the inside? No, he doesn't. Now it's going to be a drag race to the line, depending on the exits between the two. But I reckon, Dino, it's going to be McFadden that holds on to this, and McFadden will hold on to it, but only 0.3 of a second to Andrew Ferguson. And that is a race for the ages here at the Rangiart V8 Roots. And wow, what a race. We saw the strategy play out, and I was not expecting it to get that close between the lot of them.
Definitely not. Absolutely. Hats off to McFadden. What a drive. I tell you what, he is the winner. Pete, would you give him driver of the day? Because I tell you what, I think he's earned that one too.
Oh, absolutely. He has got driver of the day in my books, and I'm sure all of the viewers are going to say the same thing as well. He played the strategy to perfection. We were starting to wonder, did he go too early? I reckon he has played it to absolute perfection to be able to pull that off, and especially I can just have it on repeat in my head at the moment how close that second pit stop was. McFadden coming out of the lane nearly side by side with Ferguson, but Ferguson did a fantastic effort. You know, he was 0.3 of a second away from claiming himself another race win, but a second place is still going to play huge in his championship run. Andre Elliott, we saw him, he was so close. He was a second away from the lead battle, and with the way they were battling here, 100% on that final lap, it would have been right there in amongst it, and it would have been the two Rangiart cars versus Andrew Ferguson. So, Elliott would be a little bit upset with that final blow that he came to at the outer loop, but it is what it is sometimes. Tommy Corks, your pole sitter, though, ends up 4th position. A fantastic effort considering the big pace discrepancy that we saw between a lot of them. Dion Clerk, after pitting that late, very surprised that he was able to hold on to a 5th position. So fantastic effort there from Dion. Cole Elliott, we saw him work his way through the field. He will claim a 6th position. Lee Crowther, your Birdman, he was in the midst of it. He was absolutely in any battle that we saw and finds himself in 7th position. That was very much worth a thirsty camel trip for Lee there. And Remo Grand is in 8th position, just ahead of Hayden Wallace, who pulled off a fantastic drive through the field in the DJR-inspired car. So fantastic effort from Hayden, and Sadler rounds out your top 10 for Speed Nation.
And then we had 11th, we had Ezra. Great job there. Those guys were battling hard. Cookie got it up into 12th. I believe he started in 14th, so he'll be reasonably happy with that. Salmon in 13th. Hare 14th. Paul in 15th. The man who nearly ran out of juice. He nearly did a win cup, but somehow rolled it into the pits there to get some juice. Sullivan in 16th. Priest, he's already gone in 17th. But I tell you what, the battle between McFadden and this man, absolutely phenomenal racing. I haven't seen racing like that in this series I haven't seen racing this series, mate. That has been the season best battle, that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we just have the entire season of Enduros around Watkins, Glen? I will happily watch this on repeat, but as much as we love to keep talking about this one, Dino, coming up next is a very, very interesting circuit choice and car combo where we head to Hungary for the Hungaroring. And so that is going to be very interesting. Just like this circuit, lots of undulation in the circuit itself, but at the same time, a lot more bigger braking zones and a few more places where the drivers could possibly come unstuck, and a much tighter chicane to throw in there as well.
Definitely, that track is going to really test everyone in the field, but I can't wait to see the championship standings next Tuesday. This is going to be absolutely epic. And while I've got a chance, ladies and gentlemen, just remember Sunday night, it's the first round of Sensationals event, the Big Bangers. That will be an event. The old Falcons and the old Commodore go hammer and tongs at it. So there's a lot going on at Sensational at the moment. Pete, you've got your own broadcast going on. What have you got happening?
It's going to be the penultimate round of the ASA Le Mans Sprint Series, so that is going to be absolutely fascinating. We have got, off the top of my head, it's 5 championship standings because you've got the Pro and Pro-Am classes in each category at the moment, and none of those are settled at the moment. We've had plenty of different race winners, but they head off to Sebring next, which is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Definitely, that will be one to watch, so tune in. There is lots of racing going on. A quick shout out to people riding. Fabs, thank you for the comments. Hackster, you too. Gray in there as well. I saw Sam in there as well. Remember, people, you need race gear. Get onto Sam Bensley. He is your man. Gentlemen, it's a shame you guys weren't here, but for now, Pete, I think we need to sign it off, mate. I've had an fantastic evening with you. That racing was absolutely phenomenal, and once again I thank you for joining me in the box.
Thank you for having me. It has been the best part of the day for sure so far, so it has been an absolute pleasure, and I am stoked to see these cars head around the Hungaroring up next. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Most definitely it is. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging around. Thank you for watching the series. I will see you next Tuesday with Pete right beside me, and this series is starting to heat up. Don't miss it.
Sensational TV YouTube channel. Don't fucking miss it.